All right, here we have our steak on a cutting board model, and I've loosely extruded something with this shape from this reference photo, and I use a Photoshop technique to automatically get the line out of it and import it into Mac. So if you stick around for the rest of the video, I'll show you how to do that. But right now we'll get right into the projection. So here's my model. I'll just show you quickly the layers I have that I made from this extruded line. So there's our line extruded, and then I added the retropology with the quad flow, 3000 count. And so those are the settings there if you want to use that to form your new clean mesh. And then I had to remap the texture back on, and then I used just the box, FFD box, to just give it a little bit of realistic shape. And because these textures are so realistic, I didn't think to carve anything out. Like, I didn't think to do any further detail within this model. But yeah, of course, that's up to you. All right, you can see that we have a really nice photo already to start with. And idea is to bake this new texture. And if you use text to image, you're going to see that without any underlying photo, it has a hard time recognizing what all of these parts are. And it really doesn't I don't think it knows what a tomahawk ribeye is. It's a kind of an unusual North American cut. And it's a ribeye with a bone in, but you can see that it's rendering out. It just doesn't really know what it's looking at. So I want it to use the underlying reference image. And that way we go to reference image, and I'm going to use the viewport color because this is what we started with. So I want this as a reference. I've got herb butter, salt and pepper seasoning, which is what the steak looks like. And so this is the photo reference. Perhaps this is what you've shown to your client. So we really want to stick with this. And that's why we use image to image, and therefore we have to set our denoising. So here I'm using 0.5. And if you watch my other videos, you'll know that I explain it as it's 50% prompt, 50% image when you do this this split. So that'll give us some of this reference to, especially the difficult challenge is getting this to be a bone and not some sort of weird cut of meat. So you can see that we have better results already using our underlying image. I've set the resolution to 1536 by 1536, which is fine for SDXL. And depending on your video card and how much VRAM you have. And I think the rest is default settings. So there we go. That looks pretty good. We now that we have our prompts that we want, we have to apply a modifier to this. And that's where you're tuning in. The whole reason is to know that it's the TyDiffusion text gen. So we apply that modifier, and now we have our single view here. You want to make sure you have recognizable depth. For this is going to be our kind of main image. And we're going to just check our depth. That looks good. Everything looks really accurate. And we're going to apply a new projection to this view. Notice that I've kept my bounding box or my frame as the same resolution match so I can clearly, easily fit this in the camera. And so now it's made this viewport. And so that's the first projection. Now, a really cool thing, Tyson thinks of everything, is that we want to have a demonstration of what this coverage is going to be and what the masking is. So we hit preview, and you'll see that the green is where this new map is going to be projected on. And so the idea is now we have to cover the rest of this map with green or all the colors. So red is going to have that weird stretchy projection. So we're going to come along here and do another view incorporating the rear of the steak. So I hit new, and now I can preview this as well if I wanted to keep updating. But once you do this a few times, you realize that you actually don't have to do very many. You don't have to preview it each time. You can see that you have your coverage. And so this is right here under display. So that's okay. Yeah, we still need to probably do one more. This is, you can also change your settings here for how much of the angle and fall off of the blend that you want, depending on your subject. Okay, so I have, oops, I didn't add this one. So let me just add this one as a fourth. All right, so I have all my views covering our steak. After applying the diffusion text gen modifier, it will destroy the original mapping that was on here, this extruded mapping that I had. And since I want to use this image of the steak still, I have to change the previous mapping to map channel 2. And then here's my simple texture, right, that was extruded. So I just changed that also to map channel 2. And then that way I can keep my modifier on here and reapply this texture, because it had a temporary texture to show you the mapping and the unwrapping that it's done. So there's an unwrap texture now on channel 1. So to proceed, we want to keep our original viewport map as channel 2. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Anyways, we have our mapping. Now that we don't have to generate from our TyDiffusion box, we actually generate here and hit generate. And it's going to go through each view and mask the views, and I'll show you in a second once it's all done. All right, I'll resume the recording to show you that how this isn't changing. It's actually an in-paint. So each viewport is a mask to just AI render the portion that's remaining that was red. And so that's what it's generating right now, and it's working through. It has one more to do, and that was that last fix. So this could see this weird stretching of the UV map, the original. This could be giving you a problem depending on your noise. Because remember, it's using some of that, and you can see it's a little bit of an error there. I also have an issue with it sometimes either showing bones or raw meat in a weird place. I would probably just fix that when I look at the unwrap map. I would maybe just clean that up. But this is all just the challenge of doing this organic piece. So there we have it. There you go. So this is the 4-section wrapped. It got the bone pretty nicely. And now it's displaying the result. We have to save this map. You can see those are my previous tests there. And we'll open that image to show you now. So that's what it looks like. This is where you might want to just fix up some of this. I would just do some classic Photoshop in here. And that's it. So I hope you found that useful. Part 2 will be how to make a cutout of this in Photoshop. As a bonus, I'll show you how to clean up this texture. We have our black empty space here that we want to remove. So use the magic wand and then content aware fill, which will give us a little more uniform appearance, which makes it easier for the Stable Diffusion to clean this up. We bring it into Forge, and I'm installing Forge through Stability Matrix, which I highly recommend. It's on GitHub. I'll leave a link below, but I also have a video about how to install this and get this running. So if you want to check that out. Forge also has easy access to Flux if you want to experiment. But we're going to use our Juggernaut model in Excel, and I'm putting texture of a steak, cooked, juicy, seasoning, herb, butter, bones. And come down to, we drag this into our image to image, and I'm going to enlarge it at 1536 by 1536. And we have our denoising. So our denoising is really low at 0.32 because I don't want it to alter it too much. All I want to do is just process this image and give it a once over, if you will. And the result is a few things that I can just get rid of. See that sort of harsh, some of this harsh lines here? That will be sort of more, it'll be more uniform. And if we open it up and have a look at our texture, this is our original texture. And you see there's some errors here. So if I apply our new map, you can see that that's fixed it up a little bit, just rounded it off. So I like that appearance a little more. So that's a pretty quick and very, very practical use of Stable Diffusion. If you want to go into our to give this some additional resolution, simply click this button here, and it'll bring it over to the Extras tab. And then from here, you can pick your upscaler, ultra sharp. I know it comes with, I have a whole nother video on how to do ultimate upscaler and what some of these are good for. You can check that out as well on my YouTube channel. And then we come down and I'll just do it 2 times. And so that'll increase it to 3K. It's not great. I would definitely prefer the ultimate upscaling method. This thing will add resolution, but it doesn't really add additional detail. So there we go. It looks the same. And yeah, I think that covers it. Now we'll go into that little trick I want to show you. All right, here's how you get an outline of an object from a photo. We select our object selection tool in Photoshop. All right, once you have your marquee, the trick is to actually invert it now so that you have a bounding box around the photo, okay? Plus this, plus your subject. And we come down, we right click on it now, and we say make work path, all right? And that's do the line like you would have like a vector line. All right, my tolerance is 0.5, I think 0.8 works well as well. All right, and now we have this line. We can export. If we go to export, and you say paths to Illustrator, work path, the one you just made, and we'll save that stake 1, okay? So now you have a line that you can import in to Max. I'll show you the little trick here is to, we merge it, single object, okay, yep. All right, it's right over top of my old one. Don't delete the other line, okay? This is where it's helpful to apply a UV map right away to it. And then take your texture so you can see it. Okay. Right. Now you delete the line. That way it fits perfectly over top. So then we go from here to there. All right. So I thought that was, I really like that little trick. See how fast it is. Way easier than cutting it out. Works for logos and all sorts of stuff. Okay. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching everything, guys. Do that whole like, subscribe. I'm almost up to enough hours to monetize. So that's pretty cool. I'm hoping maybe I'll get like 5 cents out of this video one day. All right. Peace.